I feel like this debris could hide in between those two trucks. They'd have to be going 30% faster than a commercial airliner. But still, I believe that we successfully pancaked.
Okay, that's the pancaking. But what about the mythical fusing of the two trucks?
So we had this massive impact that was able to throw around about 50,000 pounds, like this block right here. Yet I don't really think that we got anything like a nice clean fusion. That implies a weld, a nice little surface that stuck one to the other. This is more like, a bomb went off.
So this is what it takes to successfully squish a car so small it could be lost inside the wreckage of two trucks. But like Jamie said, there was no fusion, and that means they're not done yet.
If we're going to achieve fusion, we need something that is somehow more controlled than what we got in this case.
Don't go away after the break.
It just keeps getting a little more exciting.
Carrie, Grant, and Tori take it to a whole new level.
Car is being lifted off the ground. Oh.
Then Adam and Jamie meld metal by numbers. The Mojave. It's a spectacular location for a spectacular experiment.
Look, Ma, no hands!
This is gonna be nuts.
If they can pull it off.
Have you been drinking, Grant?
Because Carrie, Grant, and Tori are having problems with the video feed to the radio-controlled car.
Well, that was pretty good up until the video cut out.
So it's time to invoke the Mythbusters' patron saint, the second letter of the alphabet, and its magical plan.
So we've got our plan B, we've got the helicopter. But to be honest, if this doesn't work, it's pretty much game over. There is no plan C.
Really crossing our fingers here, but we think tracking the car with the antenna in the helicopter and Grant doing a video feed from the helicopter chasing the car might actually get us to the finish line.
You ready, Grant?
Think so.
What's the worst that could happen? You could lose control and the car will flip. Now, the antenna is directional. You can't just hook it to the helicopter and it'll work.
All right, here we go.
I'm gonna have to actually hold it and point the antenna at the car as we're following it. So that way Grant gets a signal and he'll be in the back seat remotely controlling the car, looking at the video system, trying to keep it on the line, trying to get it up to speed so we can make it to the X. This is gonna be sick.
In addition to testing the new setup, Grant will be doing a top speed test. Remember, in the commercial, over the race distance of 4,000 feet, the car on the ground was going 142 miles per hour. Our car is capable of the same speed, but can it do it out here? And can Grant control it?
3, 2, 1. Here we go. 50. 65. 72. 80 miles an hour. 90. 97. Woo! 100 miles an hour. Right on. 105. Still on target. 105 miles an hour. 105 miles an hour. Nice job. So we just did our test with the helicopter, and I gotta say, it went great.
Which means we're doing the final experiment, tracking the car from the helicopter. It just keeps getting a little more exciting.
Exciting? Sure. But what about the top speed issue?
Now, before we move on to our final test, there's one more thing I have to do. Because the car only goes 105 miles an hour here on the dry lake bed, maybe because it's so bumpy or whatever, it's not the same top speed as the car in the commercial. So I've got to do a little math and figure out an equivalent distance to start the car so that it compensates for this difference in speed.
And here's how it breaks down. In the commercial, the car is moving at 142 miles per hour over 4,000 feet, which takes 19.2 seconds.
105 miles per hour.
But moving at 105 miles per hour in 19.2 seconds, you'd travel a fraction over
2,950 feet.
So while 2,950 feet is the race distance for the car on the ground,
So this is our new start mark.
The falling car will still be dropped from 4,000 feet. And tasked with taking the car almost a mile in the air is the Sikorsky, capable of lifting 5,000 pounds and reaching an altitude of 16,000 feet. In the chopper world, this puppy is top dog.
All right, this is it. Final experiment. Let's go for the plan.
Okay, well, the speed test went really well. I can hold a steady 105 miles an hour, and I can see the car and control it great from the chopper.
All right, well, I reset the start mark on the course so that it's as if we're going 142 miles an hour.
And I can actually see you guys cross the start line from the big helicopter, and I can trigger the car drop at exactly the same time. And that's it.
Dude, if we can pull this off, this is gonna be insane.
I'll see you at the finish line.
Not if we see you first.
So the team splits into two. Carrie hooks up with the heavy lifting team, while Grant and Tori load up, somewhat nervously, in the chase chopper.
So, the start line has been moved. The car is fully prepped. The helicopter's ready to go. I'm just not sure if I'm ready to go.
You're all buckled in. Good job.
I'm all buckled in and ready to go.
It's a lot to take in, and 100 things have to go right all at the same time for this to go well. But only one or two things have to go wrong, and it goes horribly wrong. So, just gonna take a few deep breaths and make sure my steering thumb is good to go.
Can you really get any cooler than this?
It's a pretty mighty chopper there. Control the car straight down the course and just be in the moment, be in the zen of the whole thing, and make sure I get to the target. All those years of video games are gonna pay off now. Yeah! Woo! There it goes.
Here we go.
Wow. Oh, this is crazy. That's mighty.
I am so excited about my role in the final experiment because not only do I get to control the car drop itself, I get to see the whole thing in action. I get to see the speeding car with the tracking helicopter. I get to see the car drop and go poof down into the desert.
All right, car is being lifted off the ground. Oh, man.
We're now heading over to the drop zone. We've picked up our car.
And now begins the long climb to 4,000 feet.
Okay, we're at 1,000 feet.
Once there, Grant and Tori will assume their start position above the RC car, and the race is on.
2,000 feet climbing. We're about 30 seconds from our start position.
See the X?
Yeah, you can still see it. It's tiny.
Okay, we're at 4,000 feet and directly above the target zone. Ready for the drop. Grant, in your own time, start driving.
It's the Mythbusters Demolition Derby. And Adam and Jamie have more than compacted their compact. But where did all this start?
It all started with a myth about two semi-tractor trailers that hit each other on the freeway with such force that they fused together and crunched a car between them that couldn't be found for several days. We tried the experiment full scale a few years ago and didn't quite get it right. We were able to try it again for this episode and got it mostly right, but we still didn't get a car between them and we didn't get them fused together. So we ramped up the speed close to the speed of sound, and while we did get a pancake car, we did not get the fused metal, so we come back to New Mexico Tech, and they're going to show us what fusing metal is all about.
This looks perfect.
We were unable to fuse metal with our head-on collisions, but apparently there is a process by which one can bond metals using an impact, and it's called explosive welding. Unlike the testing we were doing earlier, which is pretty much chaos, explosive welding is a precision process. We're going to take this plate, put it on top of the other at a specific distance, apply explosives in a very precise way, and that'll get the job done.
So essentially, they'll be using 500 pounds of high explosive to literally push the steel plates into each other. And safely hunkered in the bunker, it's time to weld by numbers. And those numbers are
3, 2, 1.
Wow. That was a thud. It was bigger than I expected from, that innocuous box of white powder that we set up down there.